T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Good.
You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man.
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes.
Exclusive. Oh.
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up.
You are now tapped into the coolest reptile podcast in the world, episode 200. What is good? What is good, everybody? I'm your boy MJ. Welcome back to another Trap Talk with MJ. It's your first time tapping in. What is good? Please do your boy a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. That way you're not slept on the next 200 episodes that I drop here on the Trap Talk with MJ podcast YouTube channel. But what is good, everybody? Top of the morning, top of the afternoon, top of the evening, wherever the hell you're at, you're now tapped in. Coolest reptile podcast in the world. So excited. I have a couple back on that I've been wanting to have back on for quite a while. So it's going to be amazing, amazing, amazing time. Canada, where you at? I hope you're ready. Shout out to everyone in the early birds. I see you guys. But you guys know how we get started on this podcast. Freshest and bestest rodents delivered to your doorstep. Cold Blooded Cafe, number one in the game. www.coldbloodedcafe.com. $30 flat rate shipping anywhere in the United States. Number one by far. Shout out to Steven. Shout out to Desiree. Shout out to Sim Container, John and Alex. If you got eggs, put them inside of a sim box. Less steps, less stress. If it's a sim, it's a win. Shout out to my boys. Check them out on Instagram as well. Shout out to Steven and Ashley, Flex in Texas all day, every day. PVC built enclosures, Focus Cube Habitats, the real deal Holyfield. Check them out on Instagram. Go to the website, get an order in. They are legit. Talk about legit. The number one stainless steel racks built in the United States. Number one in the industry. That is Freedom Breeder. Shout out to Jesse. Shout out to the entire Freedom Breeder crew. Thank you for your support. Appreciate you guys. And I cannot wait to hang out with you guys at Trap Fest next month. It's going to be amazing. Shout out to my big dog, my homie, my big bro, Miguel Garcia. Always evolving pythons. Appreciate your support. Please check out what he has available on Morph Market. He has so much stuff that's just now starting to get breeding and hatching and whatnot. So tap in on his Instagram. Make sure you check out his YouTube. He's very, very active on both. And yeah, that's my boy. Shout out to the entire AEP family. Shout out to my boy Alan over at Amazing Basins. If you're into boreal snakes and if you're into something as amazing as the basins, please head over to Instagram. Give my boy a follow. Check out his Patreon page. That's my big dog. Appreciate your support. Shout out to Blake Stewart over at Stewart Design. If you would like to invest in your brand to the most fullest extent and try to be as professional as you possibly can, Blake Stewart is the answer for that. I'm telling you right now, sdidentity.com. Check him out on Instagram. He has worked with the biggest breeders in the game and have already done amazing stuff with them. So shout out to Blake Stewart. Appreciate your support. Shout out to Mark Bailey over at Mark Bailey Reptiles. OG, triple OG, man. I'm so inspired to have this guy's support and, you know, to hang out with him at the NARBC shows is just something I'll never forget. Shout out to my boy Mark Bailey. Appreciate your support. Go check out his productions on Morph Market. Yeah, he's not on Instagram that yet. I'm trying to get my man on Instagram. We're working on it. But yes, check out all his productions on Morph Market, please. Thank you, Mark, for your support. And then shout out to the leaders of the industry, in my opinion, throwing the best shows in the United States. Reptile Super Show, #1 show on the West Coast. Shout out to Rami. Thank you for doing such an amazing part in this industry, bringing all of us together. I love Reptile Super Shows. Cannot wait for Anaheim, and then Pomona coming right after that. Then Vegas. It is going down. And then, of course, the Super Bowl shows, NARBC, Bob Ashley, Brian Potter. These guys been smashing it for years out, just like Rami. Telling you right now, you need to get your hiney over to an NARBC. It will change your life. Connections, all sorts of things happening at these shows. You must do it. So I appreciate all three of you guys for throwing such an amazing show. It really means a lot. And shout out to Phil Goss, US ARC. Please, let's come together. Let's fight for our animal rights. Head down to the link below. Become a member of US ARC. Become on the same team, man. I fight with US ARC. Let's go. We all need to fight together. And then more importantly, go to YouTube and subscribe to the US ARC YouTube channel. That way you're on top of all the current events. You never know when it's going to hit in your area. Just be ready, man. Just you know what I'm saying? Proactively be ready. Shout out to anyone who follows me on Instagram. But you out there, if you don't follow me on Instagram, you're sleeping on yourself. Go over to Instagram right now. Give your boy MJ a follow. MJ Exotics Cartel with an A, not an E. I'm finally going to have a lot of ball python stuff coming out here soon. So excited to show you guys that. Not so great news with the green tree pythons. I don't want to give you guys too much, but let's just say I don't have 11 beautiful red neonates anymore, unfortunately, okay? I will update you guys on my vlogs, but man, those green tree pythons, not for the faint at heart, but we're going to keep it moving, and we'll touch up later on that. Please go give my podcast Instagram page a follow as well, Trap Talk with MJ Podcast. Shout out to my Twitch viewers. If you would like to support this channel more than a subscription, more than a like, more than a comment, send me any donation. I'll take any donation to Exotics Cartel with an A, not an E, to PayPal. I appreciate the donations. You guys are amazing. And then if you guys have a question for Markus or Jayne, please send a super chat. Don't be shy. Drop a super chat for this lovely couple. If you have a question that you want me to answer, I get 100%. If it's a super chat, I will ask them it. Okay, so I appreciate all your support. Last but not least, shout out to my Patreon members. I salute you. Thank you so much. My trap family, we're growing by the day. If you would like to get more out of this podcast, more out of this industry, if you want to tap in with some breeders who really have some passionate goals going on, go down to the link below, join the Trap Talk Patreon family. We even have big, heavy hitters a part of the Trap Talk Patreon family. All levels. I'm telling you, man, up-and-comers, people are killing it already. I'm telling you, don't waste time. If you want more, go get more. Trap Talk Patreon family. I appreciate all my Patreon members. I love you guys. Thank you so much. You guys are my heart. And let's keep growing, man. All right, but who's here in the building? Who's excited for Markus and Jayne? I know a lot of Canadians are going to be in the building for this one. I'll tell you that much. Shout out to Big Mike, 1776 Exotics, Trap Talk Patreon family member all day, every day. British Columbia Balls. Canada already in the building. I'm telling you, Canada's going to be heavy in this in the live chats. I can tell you that right now. Mason Johnson, Trap Talk Patreon family member all day, every day. Thank you so much. Blackheart Exotics coming on the show next week. Be ready for that one. Shout out to the homie Blackheart Exotics. HB Reptiles, Trap Talk Patreon family member all day, every day. That's what I'm talking about. Sunshine State Sulfurs, what is good? The homie Jacob, Trap Talk Management. Team Zoo Dreams, my big bro right here. Go give him a follow on Instagram. He has a lot of ball python stuff that's about to just smack all you guys in the head. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be amazing what he shows. Shout out to the homie Nate Dogg, Trap Talk Patreon family. Just officially had his first ball python clutch. Congratulations to you. That's what I'm talking about. Shane Henderson. What is good, Shane Henderson? Will's Hella Heat. What is up, Will's Hella Heat? Thank you for tapping in. Genomic Labs. What is good, Jason? Hope you're ready for your boa, man. Your boa is ready to go. Let's see. Who else is here? Triple G. What is up, Triple G? Thank you for being here. Trap Talk Team Zoo Dreams all day, every day. The homie Sean Perry. What's up, Sean Perry? Thanks for tapping in. Trap Talk Patreon fan member all day, every day. The homie Dylan. I just had dropped a vlog on Dylan's facility. Head over to the Snake Trap Sessions vlogs on YouTube. Subscribe and check out the video I just did with my homie Dylan. Amazing collection. One of the cleanest collections I've ever seen. And way to lead by example. Shout out to homie Dylan. Jay Hendo, Trap Talk Patreon fan member all day. By the way, Dylan's big time VIP Trap Talk Patreon family member all day, every day. The Homegirl Robust Reptiles Trap Talk Patreon fan member all day, every day. Thank you for being here. PD's Reptiles, what is good? Thanks for being here. Wise Guys, forget about it. Thank you for being here. AB Genetics, and he's repping Canada. Oh, he's repping Canada. The homie Angel Reptile Club. He loves these Saturdays. My boy Angel, putting in mad work. Just got his first clutch as well. That's what I'm talking about. And he's Trap Talk Patreon fan member, OG, all day, every day. Runyon, Reptiles, what is good? Thanks for being here. BBM, Reptiles, what is good, player? Thank you for being here. Excite Ball Pythons, what is good? Thank you for being here. My couple, Alex and Sandra, Florida-born exotics. Cannot wait to collab with these two in the near future. Thank you so much for being here. And we're going to end it with welcome to the Grow Tent. Wait, no, we're going to end it with the Barber Jay, because that's my boy. All right, guys, 200 episodes in the books. What do you know? And you know what? I'm not gonna do a 200th episode of anything average, anything normal. I was like, what can I do? What can I bring on a Saturday? Well, guess what? Markus and Jayne are now ready to tap in with us. Let's get this round 2 on the way. Canada, where you at? Here we have Markus and Jayne from Markus and Jayne Reptiles in the flesh. Look at them. How are you two?
Good.
We're good. Excellent.
Am I coming in okay? Am I too loud,
Yeah.
Jayne?
No.
You're good.
I'm not gonna lie. I wish I was in that backyard with you guys right now. Beautiful
It's
weather.
nice to do this from outside.
How's everything? Catch us up, guys. How's everything on your guys' end? How's it been? What's going on?
Oh, it's been great. It's been good. It's things are just moving along the way they should. Getting clutches every day. Got clutches pipping. Very happy with the way things are going.
And Jayne, what's up with you? How you been, Jayne?
I'm great. I'm
Yeah?
good. Yeah. How
Mark,
about you?
I can't complain. Just trying to catch up. Just staying above. Mark told me that you had just gotten home from work or just gotten back from work or something. Is that correct? Did you work this morning?
Yeah, I was teaching a CrossFit class this morning.
CrossFit. You do CrossFit.
And trampoline and Pilates, yeah. It keeps me in shape. It keeps me in shape.
My best friend, Socrates, he owns a CrossFit gym in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Guy, he really believes it, really about it. CrossFit people are built different. I don't know how you guys do it. I don't.
Not me.
No, I don't. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Mark. Listen, it takes a different person to sit there and love to do these kind of workouts, because I've done it before and it's like, holy wow, like it's intense, but it's just a whole nother intense level of training. And I'm not against it. It's just like you better be ready for it. That's all I know.
Yeah.
You got to be smart about it too. You got to be smart.
Yeah, I
about
mean,
it.
it just looks like it's really hard on the body, but I mean, I feel like you said, you got to be smart about it, right?
Yeah.
How long have you been doing it for, Jayne?
Wow. Since not just CrossFit, but any sort of body movement, I've been teaching since I was like 16, 17, 18.
But when did CrossFit come into your actual like practices?
Oh, probably about 10, 12 years ago.
Wow. Okay. Awesome. And before we get off the topic of fitness, I'm curious. Do you do any kind of like personal training other than coaching or teaching or no?
I used to have my own place, but I found as I got older, I didn't want to teach 50 classes a week. So I kind of backed off, and I really just do it to service the clients I've had for over 20 years now. And we're just a small group, and it's great.
That's awesome. Good to hear. And Mark, I'm with you.
Do you want to know my exercise regime? Okay, so this is one move. Okay,
I knew it.
Out, look down, do this when they strike, and slide in. That's basically my exercise regime. Yeah.
Hey, your rotator cuffs are good though. At least your shoulders are.
Oh
good.
yeah, yeah, and I can get on my knees. I can do squats. I do lots of squats and jump backs. Stuff like that.
I see you have that watch right on the. It's like, is that like an Apple or is that like count your steps type of watch, Mark?
Yeah, no, it's an Apple Watch.
But it does count. Like, do you count your steps and all that stuff?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, it definitely does. I get these rings. It says you've done it, or you can still do it, or
keep going.
What the fuck are you doing? Sort of thing.
Go pull more clutches.
he does over 10,000 steps a day just tooling around the snake rooms. And
You know, it's funny because like, you know, my wife, she's into fitness, right? And like, you know, she doesn't train anymore. I mean, it's funny. She has like one or two clients that she still considers they're her friends, but like she's so grinding out on her 9 to 5. But like she always has it a part of her regimen. I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, I get it. Anyway, so she always wants me to like, you know, hey, you want to go back to the gym? Because I used to be all about going to the gym. And then all of a sudden, once these animals became more in my life, like, I mean, I'm not trying to give it an excuse, but I don't go to the gym same way I used to go to the gym. Like, I don't like being in there. Like, I don't know what it is, but she always tries to like, well, like, do something around the house. And I'm like curious. If I get that watch, I'm never sitting down. Like, I am constantly moving all around the house. I am just very curious how many steps I do in a day. Like, so I think I'm going to get that watch just to show my wife and be like, hey, like,
oh, it's amazing how many steps you do in a day. It really is. I mean, the only time I sit down during the day is when I have a coffee.
right.
And, you know, I'll check my messages or whatever, but all the other times I'm standing up from 7 o'clock till 7 o'clock, 12 hours a day. Easy.
Right.
You know?
And you're, for the most part, you guys are both morning people, or I mean, who gets up first? Who's the first person up and going?
I get up. Actually, it was Jayne this morning. She got up at 6:30.
yeah.
Actually,
Okay.
let me sleep a little bit, but because, you know, we get up first off to let the dogs out, and they're really good. They're very quiet, but they know when that time is. There's a kind of an alarm clock in their head.
Right.
And then I get very excited this time of year. You know, as soon as I start kind of waking up, I start thinking, okay,
Oh.
has that snake crawled out of the egg? Has that clutch pipped? Are there more clutches? Are the, you know, how many prelay? I mean, it just goes on, right? So it's very exciting. And, you know, we will get up and come sit out here and have a coffee and enjoy, you know, being outside. It's great, you know.
And I'm curious, Jayne, I mean, how often are you curious about what's happening in these clutches? I mean, do you let Mark just bring it up to you, or are you somebody who like, is there like this, like, all right, let's talk about what's happening? Is it kind of more scheduled? I mean, what's the snake talk like?
We talk about it every morning. I mean, Mark will go and do his rounds, and then we'll sit and have coffee, and he'll talk about what's going on. And yeah, it's a topic of conversation every single morning because every day's different, right?
Right. And I'm curious because, you know, how long you've been doing this, how long you guys both been doing this, as far as how your guys' goals are set each year. I mean, is it a clutch amount that you guys try to hit? Is it a certain project you're trying to hit? Is it a financial mark you're trying to hit? Like, what are goals that you guys set each year that, you know, after been doing this for so many years?
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
That's a good question.
I don't aim for a specific amount of clutches. I have a set amount of females I want to breed. You know, I'm not looking to max out my percentages or anything like that, but I go, okay, here's my females. This is what I'm going to breed. I heavily plan my pairings so that I can get the maximum, you know, outcome.
Right.
And you know, also to produce animals for myself for future breedings. I mean, right now, you know, the triple het craze is alive and well, and it's soon going to be the quad het craze to produce all these, you know, triple visuals and stuff like that. So, you know, that takes a lot of work. You know, financial goals, it is what it is. I know every year we do, you know, well enough. But we don't sit down and go, okay, let's try and hit this, or let's try. I don't know why. Maybe, you know, does that make me a bad person? I just really thoroughly enjoy what I do and feel, you know, really fortunate to be able to do it for day in and day out, and for as long as I've been doing it, and lose zero interest. You know, most things run a 7-year, 10-year cycle, and you're kind of like, yeah, let's close the chapter on that book.
Right.
You know, this book, I'm only, you know, partway through.
Right. I don't think you ever get through this book. It's just
No.
it's a
It
never.
just gets better. It
It
gets
gets
better.
better, and it's like, why leave when something's getting better? You know, it's like that's why I always. It's funny you say that, because I'm able to say that I'm going on my second year doing this full time. I'm blessed enough to be like, wow, this is like, I do snakes in a podcast for full time, and I love it, right? And I see things getting better, knock on wood, right? But I only think with the breeding and stuff growing up and stuff happening with pairings, it's only getting better. But it's getting so much better to where I don't have a financial goal either. Like I mean, even though I want to like put a number up there, but I feel like that's when it's going to mess things up. I'm kind of like my biggest number financial push is what I can make off the podcast, to be honest. Like I'm trying to do everything to where my money is all coming where I noticed from the podcast, and oh yeah, I got snake money too. I didn't know that. Like that's what I'm trying to do. It's not as easy because the snake money is really good. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like fuck, the snake money's. I need to work harder to catch up podcast wise snake money. Let's say that. But I'm just saying I don't want it to be that, because as I get older and I have kids and I want family, then obviously more money, right? More that's going to cost more money. And like you said, I don't ever want to have to look at the project and be like, well, shit, I need to make this X amount in order for me to, like, I feel like once those starts happening, that's when the stress happens and the fun kind of eliminates itself. Maybe you still have fun, but bad things do happen too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, as much as,
oh boy,
yeah, it's like, dude, a disaster is around the corner all the time, and it could be big enough to where it could affect your whole breeding season. And that's another thing too. Like, yeah, I've had 3 good seasons, but I've heard stories of people not having a season at all because of a setback, and that could happen really easily.
Oh, I know several breeders that didn't produce one clutch in certain years.
Scary.
And they're very good breeders. But it's funny. I had a conversation with a good friend of ours last night, and he's a farmer, and we were up there having some snacks and drinks, and he was telling me all the things he's got to do to maintain the farm. And he's getting up there. He's in his, I think he's 71, 72. And he said, I got to do this, I got to do that. And I said to him, 99% of the population see something and don't realize 99% of the work that has to go into it to make it successful. Sacrifice. When you drive by a farm, you see these beautiful green fields and a nice house and a beautiful barn and fencing, and all you're really looking at is the picture on the wall. You're not realizing all the work that goes into maintaining. And same with he raises beef, and there's always problems with livestock, and it's unbelievable. Right. People drive by and they just see pretty cows grazing in a beautiful green field. They don't realize all the pitfalls and all the problems you've got to deal with. And the same thing applies to what we do, and honestly, if this was perfect, if everything ran perfect 100% of the time, I probably would get bored of it, because A, it doesn't teach you anything, and B, it doesn't give you the opportunity to get better and to improve on things. And that's, you need that in your life. You need that accomplishment, that feeling of accomplishment. And sometimes that feeling of accomplishment comes as a result of a setback that you've now go, okay, I know what's going on here. I can fix this. And that those are all learning experiences. So, this peaks and valleys journey that we're on, and everybody that's on in life, no matter what they do, they're the best ones.
I'm going to throw you guys right into it. I hate to say it, because, setbacks is kind of what makes you, right? Like,
oh, yeah.
What determines what kind of person you are is what happens when there's a setback, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That being said, setbacks happen. I don't care how big you are, how small, middle, doesn't matter who you are, professional, fucking number one in the game, you're going to have setbacks, right? But setbacks need to be dealt with. You need to figure it out and move forward. Let's talk about a setback that not a lot of people like to talk about, they don't like to address, and they like to hide it. Illnesses within a collection. Okay, let's talk about nidovirus, right?
Right.
Let's talk about things that are really happening that a lot of people are like, like let's not talk about it, but it's a reality. And it's one thing that I've already knew a reality because how many chondro breeders I bring on and how many people deal with snakes so like easily crashing from Nido. Ball pythons, I don't want to say it's hard to get a ball python crash from Nido, but I mean, ball pythons are pretty sturdy. You know what I mean? You got to have a really sick ball python for shit to start crashing with one. Let's just say that, okay?
Right.
But it does happen. Like, one thing that my buddy, rest in peace, Forrest Fanning, one thing that he said when he came into my room, and this doesn't mean he was right, but he said it, and I was like, what? He came into my room, he looked, he said, this something in this room has Nido, I could tell you that. I'm like, what? Why would you say that? He's like, because the amount of python species you have in here, where they came from.
Right.
And I never tested my whole room, so he might not be right, but he might not be wrong. And after a while, and after talking and just kind of progressing in this podcast and learning more, there's Nido in so many collections, it's ridiculous. And I'm not saying people are selling ill snakes because it's easy to breed Nido positive snakes and get babies that don't have Nido, and you can sell the babies. It's
right.
What I'm trying to say, it's very easy to hide Nido with ball pythons. Okay, if somebody's not coming over and looking in your freezer, if they're not looking to see these animals, you could. I mean, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, Mark, it's not being addressed. It is not being addressed. And now these people who are getting sick animals and this is happening, they want to speak up and they want to come forward. And I feel like the people who are speaking up, it's a good thing, but it's also going to be a really bad thing for this industry because now they're exposing breeders who have nothing but sick snakes, which isn't the case, but that's what the narrative seems like. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, well, everything is exaggerated, and that's the problem when you if somebody were to come on and say that they had a sick snake, there would be a certain segment of the people listening to that go, oh, well, he's got Nido. And there would be a certain segment that goes, oh, he's got an RI. I mean, RI has been part of the ball python industry from the very beginning. One thing I will say is I've never tested for Nido or anything like that, but I really only ever had ball pythons. When I had hognose, which I don't think hognose have Nido, but they were always in a separate room. When I had boas, they were, mainly separated, but I didn't have many boas. So I was never into bringing, stuff in from the wild or from breeders I really, didn't know. And when I did bring it in, it was from very, very few breeders.
Right.
And I quarantined. Your
stuff's been closed off throughout the years, is what you're saying, and very limited on who you get it from, and whoever you get it from, it's quarantine. Where like I'm saying, quarantine is, if you're not quarantined, then that's big. That you're just setting yourself up for disaster, right? Because that's the first thing you find. You typically, what you find in a snake within the first matter of a few weeks is what's wrong with it in that quarantine. If you're not inspecting that snake and seeing if there's any saliva or gasping or anything, like that's your moment to see what's wrong with that snake. But you do it in a room completely separate. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I mean, continue. Yeah.
I'm lucky. I'm afforded that. I have basically 4 different separate spaces that I can, bring snakes in the quarantine, and I can bring snakes in. I have a separate hatchling room. So, my hatchlings never see my main room. My main room never sees, goes into any other room. So I've got a very separate situation. But, it's interesting. Nido, I guess, came up on the radar last year for me. People were talking about it. Right. I'm honestly still not 100% aware what it actually does, how it's spread. I believe it has to be contact to contact in order to spread. But I guess I should educate myself more about it.
I think this is something that's bringing brought up so much to where you're going
Yeah.
to be forced to be educated about it at this point. Which isn't
Yeah.
a bad thing either. It's good to know about this. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. And I've got some, friends that are breeders that were kind of freaking out about it, and they went and had a bunch of animals tested and they all came back negative and whatever. And animals that were actually sick. And I know a breeder that had a lot of sick animals, and animals were dying, and he did incredible testing where he actually delivered the animals to the vet live, that they could be tested, and everything was done, and none of them came back with Nido. So, I think that there's going to be an overreaction by some and an underreaction by others. But, it's important to be informed and to know about it. But, there's a lot of issues out there. That's right. People don't want to talk about it because, again, you bring it up and it gets exaggerated. And, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
It's kind of like COVID. We're all very, infectious disease sensitive right now, almost hypersensitive to it. So we just need to find out more about it, for sure.
And, testing, from what I understand, is becoming more accessible and more affordable.
Yeah, especially in Canada now. Because of the most recent situation, there was something done where they were able to make testing a lot more feasible and whatnot in Canada, because Fish Head Labs here in Florida, I believe, or Texas, I think they're in. I can't remember. Anyways, there was something worked out where you guys will be able to be you guys will be able to do a lot more testing at affordable pricing, just like we can here.
Right.
Which is
right. Oh,
but,
that's good. That's good.
Yeah, it's good. But like I'm saying, I don't know. Like I don't want to say there's people who choose to ignore it. I feel like either they're oblivious to it, I mean, something they just don't want to address. But I feel like with the amount of people that are coming into this industry and the way it's growing, and you have more people who are on the pet side of things versus breeding. Not everyone wants to be a breeder now. You gotta understand that.
Oh,
a lot
yeah.
of people buy these snakes and they're becoming YouTubers and they're doing their thing. And not that they're doing bad by it, but that's their thing. So you piss off a pet tuber, you know what I'm saying? And they're not in it for the money. So when you're taking someone's money who's not in it for the money, they're gonna be mad. They're gonna get a little bit upset. You know what I'm saying? Like and over the board, a little more extra. Where on the breeder side, like let's talk about a breeder who has a bad interaction with somebody who has a bigger name, and like you think a breeder's going to want to step up and say something? More for the most part, no, because they don't want to diminish their name. If they were to try to come after somebody and be like, well, look what happened here, for the most part, 9 out of 10 people don't give a shit about you. Who are you? You're okay. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people stay hush hush about the situation, because and that's the unfortunate side of being on the breeder side of things, because you don't want to ruin any, plugs. You don't want to step on anyone's toes by, exposing someone who someone else supports. Trust me, I've done that. And that, when you expose someone who someone else is a fan of, they don't like that. You know what I'm saying? And it could draw all these lines. And a lot of people don't like dealing with that. A lot of people lose sleep having stuff like that. They don't want that drama. Like, they don't want any of that drama. They just want to breed snakes. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it is true. And I mean, I've had many, many situations throughout my career purchasing snakes and, keeping them where, I could have said something, when you buy hets that don't end up being hets, things are not, I'm not talking necessarily disease. I did, purchase back when pieds were very expensive. I purchased a pied and it was dead, 2 weeks later. And the guy never even got back to me. I tried to contact him or whatever, but it wasn't a good situation. But I was also very naive. I just wanted a pied, and it presented itself. But all these secrets or things that people aren't talking about. At least in the reptile industry, I do feel that people are talking about, things like RI and Nido and things and they're a little bit more open to discuss these things. In some industries, they hide a lot of things. The dog industry, DM, if you look at, is it DM?
Yeah.
DM, which is a genetic, disease that'll cripple a dog.
I've seen that.
Over in Germany, they won't even test for it because they don't want to talk about it. And these are the people that are, at the top of the game in, dog breeding.
Right.
And, all my dogs are tested for DM. I want, a clear picture, but, when you go to breed to a German dog and you go, is it been tested for DM? They say, no, we don't test. They'd rather, it's almost like, let's not even talk about it and maybe it'll disappear. But, I think there should be, complete transparency. And, when accidents happen and mistakes happen, but when they happen, you should quickly try and find a solution for it. There's many people that can be blamed, but I think working together to resolve the problem is the best way to do things.
I mean, at the end of the day, like we're going against each other is not the answer. We have to kind of just come up with a solution that is going to happen regardless. That's what I'm saying. As much as people don't want to talk about it, something might happen to where you don't have a choice.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Now you're put on this fucking pedestal of this situation. You're like, well, now what? So I'm saying it's just a matter of time. You know what I'm saying? We're in a different generation of all this. Like, look, everyone has a podcast. Everyone has social media. Like, everything's exposed nowadays. There's no more hiding shit. Like, good luck trying to hide shit now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
no question.
Let me ask you guys this: throughout the years of you breeding and whatnot, and I don't know if you guys even have an answer for this, but do you guys have an average of animals that die on you each year, like for the most part, or is an animal dying? And I'm talking like maybe an adult breeder or something like that. I mean, is it uncommon for an adult breeder to pass every year, or do you guys go a year without having any animals passing away? I'm just curious on how often animals pass away in your collection.
Well, again, I'm not going to get into numbers. I've had adults die, and it's like there's just no rhyme or reason, sort of thing. But, internal things can go wrong. They can die of old. I've got some females here that are over 20 years old, 25 years old. It's going to happen. But, I'm not going to discuss any kind of numbers again, because you're going to get people that will speculate and whatever. So I can say in any collection, it's going to happen. I mean,
right.
I
don't mean to ask for an exact number or anything. I'm just saying, is it common throughout the year? Like, is it something at this point, since you've had a collection for so long, where each year you could expect an animal to pass away?
I get certain times of year, especially when it gets cooler.
Right.
You'll get some females that will, start getting RI. But I don't medicate. I basically have a separate rack in a separate room that is very warm, and that's where they go, and it clears up on their own,
So basically that's how you address it. If there's any kind of an RI, you take it, because I do that with an incubator, with a chondro. Like if a chondro does that, I learned from I think Gary Shavino, put the chondro in an incubator for a couple of days, in a Sterilite tub in the incubator at like 80, 87, 88. And a couple days. I mean, that's worked, knock on wood, but that's worked every single time for me. And I'm just like, wow, I can't believe it.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Same here. And, I think, the drugs, there was a time there where everybody was, buying Baytril and Fortaz and amikacin and whatever. I try to look at a natural solution, and I find, heat and humidity works very well.
Right, especially if they're able to eat, that's even better, because you just want to get the good meal into them and get them to shed. Once they shed, that that's gone. You know, for the most part. Not, you know, if it's okay, but you know, I've had to deal with it maybe a handful of times. This year, I just dealt with the ball python for the first time, and that's when I was like, you got to be shitting me. And then my conjure guy was like, oh man, it's Nido. I was like, don't what? I was like, you're shitting. So I got it tested and all that.
Yeah.
Luckily, it was not Nido. You know, I did give it 4 TAS though, because it did have it pretty bad. I did put it in the incubator, but it just didn't want to eat. It wanted nothing to do with food, and it was going a long time without food. So, you know, this is a one snake that I said, you know, I'm gonna take it to the vet and get this 4 TAS for it. And they did, and 3 shots of 4 TAS, went into 3 shots of 4 TAS, went into shed, now eating, done. So
Right. Good.
no Nido. Just I got 3 tests, just so you guys know. Any little bastards out there try to take what I said and run with it, you better not. So yeah.
Right, exactly. And you know, some snakes, when they are in shed, they will have saliva. Where
right,
you'll
that's
see
natural.
right.
Or their mouth will be a little gasp, like the whole. And that's another thing too. I had a chondro with its mouth kind of looking weird, and I was like, "What is it doing?" But it was in shed. It was about to shed, and it also has interesting.
Yeah, I mean, people can get very, very sensitive to different things that they say. Do you want to let her out so she can stop barking?
Sure.
Yeah, our one of our dogs wants to be out here with us, so. But she's got a thing for chasing squirrels, so if you hear all this running around, that'll be her.
How many German Shepherds do you have? 3, right, or 2? I can't remember.
No, we've got 2. We had to we rehomed one to a breeder, a good friend of ours. But yeah, we've got the 2 now, and they're a lot of fun. They keep us active.
What's the breeding plans been like with those dogs? I mean, are you breeding them every year, or what's happening?
No, I'm not actually. The male's fixed, and I think we're gonna get the female fixed as well. Originally I was going to breed, but then I looked at the sheer amount of work that goes into raising a litter and the space, and I'm busy enough. And you know, dealing with dog people is a different deal. it's a different.
I mean, nothing against the reptiles, but a dog is like it's like a child to me. Like this.
Yeah.
You have people who will not have kids because they love dogs more, and that's a legit thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You're an adoption agency when you have puppies. You know basically what it is. So you have people who are psychotically obsessed with these dogs. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of them.
Right now, one of the problems, I talked to a friend of mine who breeds, and he's all set up. He's got a beautiful facility, and I was gonna maybe do a breeding loan with him where he can take the female, have the puppies there. We'll market them. People pick them up there.
Right.
And he said to me, he said they're not selling. Dogs just aren't selling, because what happened during COVID, everybody went out and bought a dog. And now that they're back to work, they can't afford to get, you know, a dog sitter or whatever. So the shelters are full of dogs.
Wow.
And which is really sad, because, you know, when you get a dog, you have to plan to keep it for its life. And so that's an issue where they're not selling. Plus everything, as you know, is through the roof, you know, cost wise, right? And people are going, well, okay, how do we not spend money on something? Let's not get a dog. You know, let's not get a dog that we got to feed and take it to the vet, and it's, you know, hundreds of dollars every time you go there just for shots. You know, so all these things are adding up to where people are going, yeah, we're not going to get a dog. So a lot of these breeders have a lot of dogs that they can't sell. They can't, you know, home. I can keep a hatchling for 2 years, and it's going to take up, you know, a small footprint, right? But dogs don't. They're like humans.
This is a clear example on why the reptile industry is booming and the dogs industry not so much. You want to know why? The generation nowadays are lazy as shit. They don't want to have to take care of a dog. A dog is a lot of work. I mean, especially, I mean, you'd have to be a real piece of shit to neglect a dog, because it's like, how do you how can you live and see a neglect? But a lot of people realize when you don't want to neglect a dog, you have to put in work. Like you have to walk it, give it attention, unless it's a little tiny little, toy thing. Those aren't dogs. Like those things are happy in the bedroom. You know what I'm saying?
They're ornaments.
Yeah, they're ornaments, and I've had one of those, God rest his soul, little King Bobos. I have 2 pit bulls, and you don't give them attention after a while. They're, it's not good. They start whining, and they'll just go to another level, and you just have to give dogs attention because they deserve it. They rely socially on your love. That's what all they want is to make you happy, and if they don't feel like you're making you happy, I don't
100%,
feel like they're out of place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's crazy you said that. But I love dogs. Like I love.
Oh yeah, we wouldn't be without dogs.
Yeah,
but when you breed like the kind of dogs that you have and the German Shepherds that we have, they have to go to a certain type of owner.
Yeah, like a venomous snake, like a venomous snake almost. You know what I mean? Like, and you have to. There's pit bull people and there's Chihuahua people. You know what I mean? There's Rottweiler people. There's German Shepherd people. It's funny because I always want them all, but like I don't really know if I'm a German Shepherd breeder. I know, I mean a German Shepherd dog keeper. I feel like I would love them, but I don't know. Like they're a different breed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know I'm obsessed with pit bulls, and I know I'm meant to be with pit bulls, and what I'm getting at is I want to add a 3rd dog. I just don't know if I should just stick to pit bulls or add something random. I don't know what I should do, but I'm ready for a 3rd dog.
Two dogs to me is the perfect number.
Yeah, 3rd is dicey. 3rd is like, oof, like you're really risking it right now. But the reason why is because Capone's, he's going to be 10 this year, and he's not slowing down, but I'm trying to make a perfect cycle where one dog's not left alone. You know what I'm saying? Where because Capone tries to keep up with Delilah, which is my younger one. She's 5, but I feel like I know when Capone maybe hits 11 or 12, he's just gonna just be like more like leave me alone. I want to relax. And she's gonna be like, well, what do? And I want to kind of have something for her to keep occupied. So we're right around that point where I'm about to get that 3rd dog because we'll see what happens. But dogs always gonna be a part of my life. I have to ask. Can you remind
me? It's a boy. Don't get a girl.
But here, Capone is a pain in the ass. Delilah is a sweetheart. Like I could take her to the dog park. She won't start anything. Capone will always start something. So, and I feel like, I don't know, like I want a boy, but my wife's like, we have to get another girl because look how perfect Delilah is. And so we're like, I don't know, we're on the fence. And I know Capone, he still has his balls, and I don't want him to, I know there's a certain point when you have 2 males, one's younger than the other. Once the younger one catches up to the older one, there's like a dominance thing. And especially with pit bulls and Capone, right now he won't back down. And I don't know if that will ever go away as he gets older. I hope it does. Because I just, Capone at the end of the day is a big pussy. Like he acts like he's tough, but if the dog wants to put pressure on him, he'll cry and it's really pathetic. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
Fixed. You haven't had him fixed?
No, I won't. No. I won't. I took him to the vet because he had a big, he had like a cyst on his butt and it was growing really, really big. And I got it tested. Nothing cancerous, but we got it removed. And I asked the doctor, I was like, should I get him neutered at this point? And he's like, and he checked and there's no prostate issues. And he's like, at this point, I would just leave it. And he's like, it's not going to change his mood or anything. He's already going on 10 years old. And so he advised. Okay. Yeah, he advised us to leave it because he's already at that age, and it's not going to have much of an effect at this point.
Right? Yeah. No, it won't.
So I was like, all right, if that's the case, let him have him. So I don't know.
But girls will fight, though. I'll tell you. Sometimes girls are real or worse than males.
I've heard that too.
That's why if you have a good harmony right now, you could really disrupt that.
Maybe do it this way. Ask your wife how she would feel if you got another wife. So you could have 2 wives. And
oh my God, not good.
Okay, and then maybe ask your wife the same question. How would she feel with 2 husbands? And see who has the biggest aversion to the situation. It will be the woman. She won't want another wife in the situation, right? Same with dogs.
2 dogs for now. 2 dogs for now.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
Yeah. Don't fix it if it ain't broke.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys, as far as production for Markus, Jayne Reptiles 2022, what's it looking like? Is your season going as planned? Are you behind? Are you ahead? Kind of give us an update on what's going on this year, Mark.
I think we're going to exceed what I had anticipated doing. And we're, I would say, slightly behind in production as far as, clutches coming out.
Right.
And we might be behind by maybe a month. But, it was all about the weather this year. We had a very warm fall, a very late winter, and then it stayed cold longer. So, it kind of shifted everything. And, I really don't start breeding until the end of November, December-ish, mid-December. So, a lot of the clutches that are coming out now, the females were first bred in January, and they were only bred twice, January, February, and they're having great clutches. But I'm very happy, with where we're at and egg production and very good production. Knock on wood. Not a lot of slugs this year, and some years I've had more slugs than others, but it's been really good, and a lot of great clutches just on one breeding. So.
Well, if you want to talk about slugs, man, I mean, I'm dealing with some painful slugs, and I don't even want to call them slugs. Fully developed, dead. I'm talking about pipped out of the egg, heads out of the egg, looking around. I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. They should be out the next morning. Come back, they're dead. And I'm talking about chondro babies. Terrible.
Okay.
My heart was just like, and I was talking to Patrick Holmes and a couple people, and his theory, because he's also been through this a lot with chondros, having literally a snake pip and it died. He's saying it has a lot to do with the snake, the mother being too hot during the being gravid, meaning like, and this is, from what I know, from what I've done, just like my ball pythons, once a snake ovulates, I keep it a hot spot 24/7, even at night. And I did that with the chondros. And I had a lot of chondro people I was bringing on saying that they don't run 24/7 heat. At night it goes to a natural drop, and then then they'll give them their heat at during the day. So I was like, holy shit, that's what you guys do. So I'm not saying that was what happened, but I'm curious if those years that you had slugs, if you happen to sit back and kind of put pieces together and see if it had to do with your temperature at all, or what you think it was that gave you slugs, or whatever the case was.
I would say, there was one year I remember in particular, and that was a long time ago, but I would say that I probably had like close to 60% slugs. It was brutal. It was brutal. And again, it's one of those things that you learn.
Right.
And you go, okay, how can I fix this next year? You have a female that drops 9 slugs. A lot of people would give up on that female. Next year, she'll give you 10 good eggs.
Right.
And I find it is a lot of, it's very temperature sensitive, up and down. And so I don't do a lot of up and down. I keep it very consistent across the board now. The only up and down I do, for example, is in the summer months, you can't really help but have the room get warmer than you would like it to, unless you have air conditioning,
Right.
which I don't want to do because that removes humidity. So, my room, I have a thermostat set to cool, so that when the room gets too warm, the exhaust fan kicks on, and I have an exhaust fan. I don't know what they're called. They're the green ones. A lot of marijuana grow ops use them.
Yeah, that's what you mean.
And it'll suck the air out. And on the opposite end of the room, I've got vents that open up, bringing in fresh air from outside. They're screened and all that, but they open up. And just below them, I have fans going 24/7. So when the vents open up and air is being drawn through, those fans then push that air through the room. Well, in the summer, when it's 90, degrees outside, you're sucking in 90-degree air, right? But I'm okay with that because that's natural. So really, when I look at a temperature drop now, I'm looking at it will drop naturally in the fall and winter because it's not going to be sucking in that hot air. If it's sucking in anything, it's going to be cooler air to bring it down. So I like my room to be 80 ambient temperature. And in the summertime, sometimes my room will get up to 88, 89 degrees.
Naturally.
And that's naturally, and that's fine. And so, but as long as you keep the temperature consistent through the breeding season, I find that that's when you experience less slugs. But if you're having major spikes in the breeding season, that's when you're going to run into problems.
And maybe what had happened for my case with the and obviously there's no saying because it's chondros, we're not talking about pythons here. With my case, since I've had these fully developed slugs, I guess you could say, or snakes that died in the egg, with that hot spot, but my room being as cold as it was, because I understand the ambient was still natural. Like it was, I think this room was getting to like 75, 74, but it also it still had its hot spot of 88. So that's a lot of fluctuation. I feel like that's a lot of like back and forth. I feel like a lot of like not consistency. And like you said, once a snake hits that breeding or gravid point, it needs consistent. I feel like it needs to be something that's so fluctuating. So maybe it wasn't the constant heat. Maybe it was the fact that my room was dropping so cold with that. But I do feel like a lot of the issues with slugs has to do with the way these eggs were made inside the snake. You know what I'm saying? The temperatures and all that stuff is what it comes down to,
Oh, I think everything comes down to temperature, and I think consistency, always rules. There'll be breeders out there that have an ambient of 84 in their room and do really well, and breeders that have an ambient of 78 and do very well. But if you're bouncing, from 78 to 88 throughout the day, I think you're going to run into problems. When you have a hot spot, like the magic number for ball pythons, in my opinion, is 88. When you see a female that is happy and content and coiled in the spot she wants to be in, and you temp gun her, it's going to be 88 90% of the time. Okay. And I'll see females, on that spot laying there, and all of a sudden, either it gets too warm or whatever, and they'll move off that spot and then they'll move back onto the spot. So if you can, if you've got an ambient of 80, 82 in the room, which 80 in the wintertime is where I want to be, realize in the tub, if you've got a 90-degree hot spot, which will give her an 88 ambient where she is, it's not going to be 80 on the cool side of the tub because the heat is contained in there. So, it's important to have that gradient that they can move to and back, back and forth from, in order to self incubate those eggs. Those eggs, they start incubating at ovulation. They don't start incubating when you put them in the incubator. So, but it's not, I believe it's the semen that is affected more by heat than the eggs are affected by the heat. And it's just, but that's just my theory. I don't have any scientific proof to back it up. I'm sure some of your viewers know more about it than I do. But males have to be kept at the same temperatures as the females, so that when you move that male to that female, there's not this massive fluctuation in temperature.
That's a good point too. That's a really good point. Because you have a lot of people, especially in the chondro and arboreal communities, who keep almost everything ambient, especially their males, right? Like meaning like won't even give their males a hotspot, and only the females have their hotspot, you know, for just in case their ovulation or whatever. But then again, if you have a female that is constantly staying warmer than the male, and you throw that male in, I mean that's a fluctuation in temperature. I feel like that's also a huge
Yeah, it
thing.
is. Yeah.
You know, another point too, and you know, this male that sired this chondro clutch of mine, he had just turned 4, so he was pretty young, like 4 years old. I mean, people have done. I mean, that's not too young. I mean, people have bred chondros at like 2.5, 2 years old. But what I'm trying to say is, how many times have you had like a first time male, like a young, like smaller male, not really give you a successful clutch? Has that happened quite a bit?
Many times, and that's a big factor as well. You know, it's one thing to have them breed, but it's another thing, you know, is their semen strong? Is it, are they mature enough? And if I, you know, look back at my records and I go, why did this female give me all slugs or half slugs or whatever? Most of the time, I'd say 80% of the time, I can trace it back to using a young male as opposed to an older, experienced male, more mature male.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, there's not one thing that you can, you know, you can rule. And you know, I'll give you an example, and I've never really made this public, but it's an observation where I had a female, and it was the breeding season, and she started to develop a bit of RI, and she was also building. She had, you know, good sized follicles, you know, two
in the middle of everything. God damn. Okay.
Right. And I'm like, okay, you know, do I leave her in her bin and hope this just disappears or whatever? Or she's a really good female. Do I put her in move her in a warmer bin and risk, you know, losing the eggs, risk her slugging out? And I moved her into my warm rack, which is substantially warmer than anything out there. And you know, she ovulated in the tub, and she laid in the tub and gave me all good eggs in the tub at those extreme temps. So you know, so what's the theory behind that? You know, because you would think if the semen is sitting there, you know, waiting to fertilize those eggs during the ovulation process, would the semen have been hurt? But it didn't. But I think when you have males sitting in too cold a tub and you move them to a warm tub, you're going to get a lot of inconsistency. But, you know, sometimes things work out. So,
yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, at the end of the day, there's just so much to figure out that we probably will never figure out. That's why I love it, though.
No,
you know?
but that's what makes it interesting.
I'm telling you, this is why, as much as I did want to break down a door, and you know, when I saw these 3 dead chondros that, you know, like I said, at midnight last night, they were breathing. I was fucking so excited, and you know, I'm just getting closer. You know, like, you know, I'm figuring it out, and that's what it's all about. You know, and
yeah,
you know, one thing I love that you did say, and that I'm glad you said it, because I need a reminder that just because a snake gives you slugs does not mean it's ruled out. Like, you don't need to X that snake out. Obviously, make sure it's healthy, it's eating, and making sure that's not the issue. But you know, give it a go the next year or that time again. You know, I'm just saying, I feel like there's a lot of things to figure out. You know, and jump into a conclusion. And also, I'll also say is, you know, you got people who jump to the point of wanting to put down a snake because they have RI, or you know, they go to the extreme to like, well, this snake it's done for, and I feel like that's an drastic thing you don't need to do either. We just got to figure things out. Like, just slow the fuck down and just figure it out. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. And I've had snake. I mean, look, you know, when I first got into this, it's been 22 years, and I was, you know, importing adult females, you know, from the United States or whatever, and you've got all that stress built in, you know, with the travel. And no, I didn't bring any adults from Africa, US, but you know, you have all that stress there. You're gonna get some, females that will, develop RI, and I've had females develop RI back then, and they're still, they never got it again, sort of thing, because you maintain a good husbandry and stuff like that. So
Yeah. Shout out to Black Heart Exotics. Looking forward to seeing what you produce this year, Mark. Some new Jaguar combos, I hope. Can you inform me what Jaguar is? I probably sound ignorant, but I can't keep up. What's a Jaguar? Please tell me what a Jaguar is.
Okay, so Jaguar was a snake that Kevin from Nerd had.
Okay.
And he ended up, he produced a male and sold it to a friend of mine that was into ball pythons for a lot of money. And he was talking to me about it and the snake, and he said this could be the next big thing, whatever. And I was kind of mixed about it. Well, then he decided to get out of the ball python industry because he's into racing cars. He runs car racing teams and travels all over the U.S. and stuff like that. He just didn't have the time. Truth be known, he got a girlfriend. She didn't want the snakes. But anyway, we went.
Wow.
So he
Crazy.
He sold me the whole collection of the original Jaguar male and its offspring that he had produced. So I had it here, and I kind of didn't do much with it. And I had a male that I bought with the collection, and Michael from Blackheart Exotics came over, and I said, here, I want to show you something. What's your opinion of this? And so I showed it to him, and he really liked it, and he recognized an opportunity. So he ended up buying it and started breeding it and producing these Jags. And I also sold one to Phil Robinson Royal Pythons here in Canada, and he crossed it with Clown, and boy, it really did amazing things to a clown. Just a Jaguar clown is really, really cool. So it's I'm still playing with it. I believe I have a super Jaguar, but so it's both a pattern and a color mutation. It really does do something almost like what a fire would do as far as color goes. Nothing dramatic, but when the super comes out, it is way more dramatic. So before I basically come out and say, here are my findings, I want to do my due diligence. Now, Michael has done an exceptional job at marketing and selling them, and they are beautiful snakes. So anytime you can get a mutation that will alter color and pattern, you're on to something, right? And it's definitely a pattern mutation, not pattern in the way of a clown or a black pastel or pied or those type genes, but it really does some exceptional things. So I'm very excited about it.
What's the direction you're going with it? I mean, this year, I think you kind of spilled the beans. You have Jaguar combos hopefully this year. What combos are we talking about here?
Well, I have quite a few like Orange Dream Jag combos.
Most of are they on your page, Mark?
I don't know if I have any on my page. Yeah, I do. But I've crossed them into Desert Ghost. I've crossed it into Clown, Axanthic. But what I'm focusing on more this year is producing another super, to finally realize that it does produce supers. But they're vicious. I mean, they really have a great name because they're the ones that'll fly out of the tub to eat. They're phenomenal eaters.
It's funny you said that because I have this one snake that I won at a US ARC auction. Okay, trying trying to be good, you know. So, anyways, about this snake at a U.S. ARC auction, it's a surge, okay. It's a surge, yellow belly, inchy, calico. It's a bunch of things, but this thing is psychotic, Mark. Like this thing literally will jump. Like I can't even look at it, or it just it lunges its body at me, and it's a female, and she's ready to breed, but I'm terrified to breed this girl. Like I'm scared to what is she gonna do to the eggs? Like I don't know what to do. Have you ever bred a psychotic female like that before?
Yeah, I'm sitting next to one.
I didn't mean to set that up, Jayne. I promise you that was not my plan. I promise.
No, females like that are great. I mean, breed them. You know, I mean, there are certain snakes for some reason, strains of snakes that are way better feeders than other strains of snakes. You know, so you want to put that in your collection for sure.
All right, let's do a little bit of Mythbuster here because I have something I plan on doing next year. Some super banana combos I really want to get into, you know. But I've had some people who helped me get a better understanding of super banana, and some of them told me that super bananas could be really terrible eaters. Is that true?
I don't find that at all. No, not at all.
Okay. And you've had super banana clowns as well? Like you've done super banana clowns?
I think I've done super banana clowns. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, but I have great experience with super bananas.
Okay.
Yeah.
This one right here, this one actually stole the show. This one made the thumbnail. I enjoyed it that much. But I'm curious. This is what kind of super banana combo is this, or what's going on with this?
I think that's a super banana black pastel.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Oh, they're incredible super bananas. I love super bananas.
And what would you say your not end goal, but where are you trying to take super bananas? At, in the next few years, what are you looking to do with it?
I don't know. The super bananas are a great tool because when you breed a super banana, you're going to get 100% bananas.
Right.
So if that's your goal, then that's a good thing. Are they nicer than regular banana combos? I wouldn't say they are. Mind you, I've got some that look like retics. Pictures, wow. I don't know where the picture, but the coloration is just, the contrast is really quite amazing. But yeah, I don't have any issues with super bananas being, bad eaters.
Now, one thing I couldn't help but to listen to when I had Justin on a few months back, and a couple other breeders, is how crazy of a direction this ball python industry is going with the triple and quad recessives, right? Like we were kind of talking about earlier. How prepared are you for that, Mark? I mean, have you been setting up for this for the last few years, or are you just now kind of adapting and switching things up? Like, I'm just curious how far are you with the quad and recessive? The triple and quad recessive projects.
Yeah, it wasn't something that I really focused on, and I am this year for sure, because I'm looking at maybe doing this for another 10 years.
Respect.
and being relevant. I just turned 65. Jayne just turned 60, and
I don't see it.
we want to. Look, I don't want to retire because I enjoy this too much, but there are certain things we want to do more of. But it's becoming more efficient. But I've got the tools to make quads and triples like crazy, which I am this year. And I think it's amazing, what's happening, and it's amazing how many people did, prepare for that. I mean, I'm producing a lot of double recessives right now, and that's always exciting. But I'll share this story with you. I was telling Jayne about this the other night, and I told it the other night to a friend. When you were growing up, did your mother ever read the story to you, Jack and the Beanstalk?
Yeah, of course.
Right. You know, I mean that's a classic
Classic.
story about, coming home, you know, uh, with some magic beans, and a guy believed it, and and everybody's like, oh, if only there was a goose that laid golden eggs, right? If
Right.
only there was, what he'd have to do, kill the giant, cut down the beanstalk, whatever. Well, we have better than the goose that laid the golden eggs. I mean, hands down better. I mean, think about it now, okay? The average egg weighs 100 grams, let's say, okay? 100 grams. That would be your average. Well, at $60 a gram for gold, that's $6,000. Do the math. Look at what some of these snakes are selling for. They're selling for double, triple
Triple
that.
that. Yeah. So these snakes are worth more than gold, is what you're saying.
Well, some of the eggs are.
It's
Yeah,
true.
Some of the eggs are worth more than their weight in gold, and you know. So the moral of the story is: eat the goose, keep the ball pythons. Right?
I'd much rather have goose anyways, to be honest. Oh shoot.
Yeah, well, for sure. But like we've been staring at it for all these years, and I mean, I have to give the industry credit, and I think that there are several things that contributed to the success. One being morph market, I think, has really solidified the industry and brought it together as far as a place where you can go and check out pricing so that you actually know what these snakes are worth. And,
Right.
breeders that are brave enough to say, yeah, you want this snake, this is what you're going to have to pay for it because this is what it's worth. And it's really made a very solid industry. And, when you look at some of the clutches, I was talking to JP yesterday, and he's got a phenomenal clutch pipping right now. And, if the right snakes were to come out, that it would be unbelievable what it would be worth. Far, far more than a goose that lays golden eggs, for God's sake, So we've been staring at it this whole time. It's right there.
All right. Well, speaking about these, eggs worth more than golden goose eggs, how often, I don't want to say it's really easy probably for you to sell a snake, but I mean, I can only assume that you have people constantly asking you when certain stuff's going to be hatched, and like,
Yep.
most part, it's like you already have people waiting for you for certain clutches, or how you delegating where a lot of your snake sales go, or do you just all put them on morph market and that's where they go, or and I'm basically talking about your high end stuff, like the bangers.
Okay,
Here.
yeah. Because my low end stuff, and you're always going to get those.
Right.
The other day I bred, what was it? A butter clown fire or something like that, and to a phantom GHI, and the first snake to pip was a normal, right? So I really hit the odds on that one. Right. It's as difficult to hit a normal as it is to hit the 5 gener, basically, right?
Really.
So I have a market for all those, and the demand is incredibly high. I just can't make enough. But I try to make enough that I can, really feed those snakes well, so that when my customer gets those snakes, they're very well represented as far as being healthy and well fed and established. Okay. But the high end stuff, I mean, I'll tell you, I went on Morph Market this year, November 1st, was my launch. And I was absolutely blown away. And the more expensive the snake, the faster it sold.
Wow.
And
It's funny.
I've got a waiting list for some of those snakes right now that sold. And when you get another one, let me know, sort of thing. So, people are starting to recognize the true value of some of these animals and what they can produce for you. Yeah.
I mean, I you know, I don't want to say it wasn't scary pricing my first ball python clutches or stuff that I had available, because I also wanted to make sure I wasn't, making myself look stupid, but then also wasn't undercutting myself either, right? So there was a point in time where I was like, oh man, I hope I'm pricing this right. But just this year, I just had super dwarf clutch, and I was going over these morphs with more experienced super dwarf breeders, and I was asking, like, what are fair prices on these? And I couldn't believe the prices. And I was like, what? I was like, $6,000. Like, I was like, who the fuck's going to give me $6K for this? I shit you not, man. 3 hours on that fucking morph market. Someone paid $6K for that super dwarf. And I was like, holy shit.
Yep.
I could not believe it. And now I'm sitting on like all the low end stuff, but I don't care. It's no big deal. But I'm just saying, you have people out there who are really doing their homework and really they're really knowing what they want to do. And they're just waiting for the right snake. But there's a lot of them out there, man. I mean, like I said, hats off to Morph Market. I gotta say, Morph Market. I mean, I've gotten a lot of sales off my stories off Instagram, but when it came down to like, what am I gonna do with all these animals? I have sold them on Morph Market. So thank you, Morph Market. Thank you, John. I want to say thank you so much.
John he's brilliant. I mean, we have no idea how lucky we are to have an individual like John doing what he does. And I was very late to the party, because I didn't want to just wade into the pool. I wanted to jump into the pool, and I wanted to go in with a big splash. And so I wanted to make sure I had the right animals. They were photographed correctly. My logo was attached to every photograph, and that the whole presentation was there. And I remember, Jayne came home one night from work, and we're sitting outside and drinking a glass of wine. And I said, well, when I said I wanted to reach this number on Morph Market in the first 2 weeks, I said, this is the number. And it was mind-boggling. It was mind-boggling. I mean, it's obviously slowed down since then, because, it initially came out. But boy, there isn't a day I don't feel grateful for what John has done.
I will say,
and his crew, and his crew, he's got great people working for him.
And I feel like the good thing, I mean, because like anything in life that you do has waves. You have your highs.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And like you could get in such a good high in a point in this industry to where the lows have no effect on you. Like you're just like, you're still steady. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard to be in an industry or something where you're able to live off your high for a while. You know what I'm saying? And because you have some things that are just so good, but then if you don't get that the next month, it's like, what am I going to do now? You know what I'm saying? And still, like, it all lays down on anything could happen, but fuck, dude, roll with the punches, man. If you get a good wave, you fucking ride that shit out to the surface. You know what I'm saying? So to shore. So I mean, I don't know. I it's like you said, that story, the analogy of the eggs that we have in the incubator are worth more than a fucking golden goose egg, and it's so true. You know what I'm saying? And and it's just the beginning. Like, it's still growing. Like look what social media is doing to this, and all these other things, and it's just now happening. Like it's gonna be big.
And we haven't really. I mean, we're starting to breach the walls to get into other markets. Like Miguel's doing an exceptional job in reaching the celebrity market and stuff like that.
In Mexico.
But it's creating that positive awareness of what we do is what's crucial, so that as snake breeders, it becomes almost a bragging point where you say, yeah, this is what I do for a living, as opposed to, yeah, I really don't want to say. I mean, I went through many years where I was very reluctant to tell people what I did for a living because of the reaction you would get from them, right. But now it's becoming very cool. We were recently, because Jayne's a travel agent, we were on a river cruise, a promotional river cruise through parts of Europe. And, certain people caught wind of what I did, And it was amazing how many people said, "Hey, I had one when I was in college, and I had one, you know, and they're awesome. Have you got any pictures?" So it's you know, the one thing about being a snake breeder and you've got an iPhone full of pictures, it's pretty easy to become the coolest guy in the room if you know what you're doing,
Yeah,
especially with kids. You know,
big time.
it's amazing. It's amazing how you can spread the joy of what we do.
Yep. Yep. Now I have a wrap up topic here before we get into the hot seat questions, and then I'll let you guys enjoy the rest of your Saturday.
All right.
Now this topic, little, you know, not controversial, but it's a little on the fence as far as how people feel about it, and gonna want Jayne's definitely input on this as well, because there's a lot of people lately really going all in on the ball python game. Like I'm talking about investments, you know, to the point where they think that maybe I should quit my job, or maybe I should, you know, maybe I should do this for the full time, which isn't an unfeasible thing. But I'm curious on where you stand at thinking that it is possible to be a full-time ball python breeder, just doing ball pythons, nothing else. And is that something smart you should do? Basically is what I want to know. And what's your take on that?
Well, I've been a full-time ball python breeder. I started, you know, I purchased my first ball pythons in, I think, December of 1999,
Right.
and I went full-time in 2003. I didn't start producing ball pythons until 2002. Those were my first clutches. You know, there's so many things you have to be doing right before you do it. You have to make sure, boy, that you have your game down as far as your marketing, and your photography is absolutely crucial. You know, knowing, you know, how to do that and presenting that properly, you know, presenting your animals as they really are, and also how you're going to feed those animals. The biggest mistake I see is people go into business, they don't grow into business.
Wow.
You know, always grow into business, don't go into business.
I love that.
And because you know, you'll get caught with your pants down when you've got all these babies you want to feed that you're producing. And ball python breeding is easy. I mean, let's face it, it really is. It's not rocket science. So now you got all these babies and you got to feed them, because that's you know, that's just the beginning of creating a reputation. So what? You bred some ball pythons. So what? You went and spent a bunch of money and bought some really nice ball pythons. But now you've got to grow those babies up so that every time a customer gets one of your livestock, it exceeds their expectations. Are
Right.
you in a position to do that? If you're not, then you shouldn't go into business. And, you know, you got to realize all the expenses involved, and you also have to be prepared for the pitfalls that do happen, you know, throughout the learning experience. Because trust me, you know, 22 years, almost 23 years into this, I'm still learning. And there isn't a year that I don't learn, you know, have some aha moments, you know. So if you think you're in this for a year or a couple of years and you know it all, that's your biggest downfall right there. That's what's going to kill you.
100%.
So, you know, I would I suggest getting into this full time? You know, depends on the person. I mean, I really am surprised when I see certain things, the way, you know, the way certain people do things that could be done way more efficiently and done in a way that makes them more informed about their collection per se. And I think organization is key. If you're a good record keeper, if you organize well, if you utilize your time well, you know, time management or whatever, you know, it's kind of like opening up a pizza shop. Anybody can buy a pizza oven and open up a pizza shop.
Right.
But there's a lot more to it, you know.
Yeah. And then I'm
Like
Jayne.
with any business.
Go ahead, Jayne. Yeah, I'm curious. Go ahead.
Okay, so for me, I think when Mark was, you know, he used to do TV editing and make TV commercials before. And he was really interested in the snakes and he was really doing very well with it. And it got to the point where at the end of the year, I said to Mark, you know, instead of working for a corporation that's going to suck the life out of you and really don't give a shit about you at the end of the day,
Which it was. Yeah.
How about we take that energy and put it into something for us, which I think was what finally pushed Mark over into doing animals full time. But having said that, you know, you want to be careful you don't take your passion and destroy your passion. Sometimes, you know, I'll use me for example as in the fitness industry. I've always taught some sort of movement class, but then when I actually had my own place and did it full time, I got to the point where I was almost destroying my passion. I wasn't looking forward to it anymore. So you need to have in mind as well. You know, you need to learn. You might be great at breeding ball pythons, but you might be terrible at doing your accounting practices, and you might, you know, be terrible at other aspects of running,
photography.
Yeah, running a business. So you either need to know you can delegate to someone, and know you can't be everything for one person. Can't be everything for a business.
And you have to look at every aspect of it. It's like me when I cook. When I prepare, if I'm going to cook something, I look at every ingredient and I go, how can I maximize that ingredient to enhance what I'm cooking, to make it that much better that I don't have to eat as much of it? And that might sound strange, but, you know, I'll take pasta as an example. If it's bland, you're going to eat a lot of it. If it's really rich and just loaded with really tasty ingredients, you're going to eat less of it, but you're going to be more satisfied.
Wow.
You know,
broke that down to me like that. Dude, that's my problem. I'm eating.
Yeah, it's a lot of people's problems.
Rich enough, flavorful food.
Well, yeah. Because what happens when you eat something that's super flavorful? You just you take a mouthful and you're just savoring it, right? You know that look when people get when they're like, "Oh my Jesus, this is good." Well, it's your brain's getting this message. This is good. This is what my body is after. If I'm done, right? You don't need a lot. And it's the same thing with you know, ball pythons. If you're going to market, learn how to photograph. If you're going to have a logo, get a good logo. If you're going to, you know, if you're going to feed, make sure you're feeding the best you can possibly feed those snakes, and you don't run out. You know, you shouldn't be put in a position where you go, well, I'm not going to feed you this week because I don't have enough to feed. You have to be prepared, all those steps along the way. You know, getting back again to, you know, somebody can post a picture of a beautiful ball python and it's the world's first and it's got, you know, 8 genes in it and it's got all this and whatever, but the 90%, 99% of the population will not see the work that went into producing that animal. They don't realize it, you know. So there's so much behind the scenes. So, you know, if you want to build a house on that mountain peak, make sure you learn how to walk up to that mountain peak before you do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And figure out how to get the truck up there to get the material up there. Just don't get in the helicopter and land there and say, did it.
And you know, it's crazy. Right. It's almost like people dumping $100 grand into this and getting all the snakes, and then you're like, all right, now what? You know what I'm saying? Or like, that's the analogy I'm getting from that.
Oh, and I hear it all the time. All the time.
We were actually talking about that last weekend, about Yeah. How you can buy the most expensive snakes in the world, but if you don't know what you're doing with them,
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Jane,
For maintaining them,
before we get off the topic, Jane, what is your suggestion out there for any spouse who obviously is on the 9 to 5 tip, but then they have their husband or wife who could potentially do this reptile thing full time, but they don't know and they're worried and they're scared. Like, what would be your advice to them?
I get asked that a lot. I really do get asked that a lot. A lot of guys will say to me that their wives are like not very supportive or anything like that.
Right.
And I get it. It's scary when you're used to lifestyle A, and there's a possibility that you might not be able to maintain that as your husband sidesteps over. But if you don't try, you will never ever know. And you'll never move forward if you don't try new things.
Yeah.
Absolutely, for sure.
Absolutely.
So it might not be your thing, but support this person as much as you can. I think it's wise to set financial parameters. You can play within these borders of this dollar amount, right? But when once you see that work, like I think we've told the story before, when Mark and I got together, we didn't have much money. We were both being divorced, and we got the kids we had to look after. And Mark wanted to do this snake purchase, which was a lot of money at the time. And
Right.
it's like, why not? We got to try. It's now or never, right?
And boy, did it pay off.
Yeah.
It paid off.
Yeah.
Just like me buying horses. I mean, I made millions from my horses. No, I threw away millions on my horse.
You didn't throw away millions.
Yeah, it wasn't millions,
No.
but now bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Was,
You had horses? Like, you had a bunch of horses, or what would you have?
Oh yeah. I had quarter horses. I was showing in reining primarily.
Okay.
And I mean, I had some horses that went on to do amazing things after I sold them, but I've always been a horse fanatic. I love horses.
It's his Achilles heel.
Yeah, it's the Belmont's on today. I want to watch the Belmont. But yeah, I don't know if you've seen Yellowstone and those shows, but the horse thing is really coming back, but it's ridiculously expensive. So I haven't owned horses in years.
So my Aunt Christine, remember I told you I have an aunt who breeds German Shepherds?
Yeah.
So she has a ranch called the Misfits Ranch, and what she does is she takes in horses that were like show horses, and they're like retired, or she has a couple race horses. And what's sad is, like, these horses that are worth so much money, when they're done, they get slaughtered, or they go to a slaughterhouse, and I'm like, what? So she has these animals that are worth over $100,000 at some point, but then now they're just not.
Yeah.
And
They're
writing out their final years on her ranch, and it's like,
that's nice.
I love it, but it's like, man, it's so much work.
Oh, it is. It's an incredible amount of work, but I love horses. I love watching horses. I love the way they smell. I love their nature.
My alpacas, the smell on their fleece, like, I don't know if it's because of the dirt that they collect with the hay, but I just, it could be raunchy sometimes, don't get me wrong, but I just love that farm smell. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's very grounding. I mean,
yeah.
It's one of the most, it's instinctually put into our DNA because it's where we came from.
Right.
Right.
We have the perfect scenario now that our neighbor has 2 horses in the back field, so we can walk out there and we can look at the horses. Perfect. Yeah.
So mentally, you could own the horses just by looking at them and be like, okay.
Well, I can ride as much as I want. I've got friends that have, big ranches, and they're constantly asking me to come and ride, and I'll ride from 8 in the morning to 8 at night. I'd be horse after horse after horse. I can do that. I just don't have the time, to do it. So I should. I mean, I'm planning on doing a trip down to Texas and going down there with a friend. He keeps all his horses in Texas. I'm going to go down there and ride. But I still go to horse shows and live vicariously through some of my friends and whatever. Just watch them, but it's a lot of fun,
Amazing. Well, hell, guys, this is an amazing hour and 40 minutes. We have hot seat questions. Okay, you're not. It's
Okay.
Plug in.
not quite over.
Yeah, I've only got 20% left on my phone, so.
Oh yeah, let's go and
All
get
right.
this. All right, here we go. Hot seat questions for Mark and Jayne. These are a little different. I gave you guys hot seat questions last time, didn't I, or no?
Sure, go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. We're gonna kind of redo these just to see if you guys are lying or not. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's hot seat questions. Answer at the same time, okay? Please. Is that doable?
Yeah,
Jayne?
sure.
Here we go. Hot seat questions for Marcus, Jayne coming in hot. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Frozen thought or live?
Live.
A cut or no cut?
No cut.
Jayne?
Oh,
Would you-
totally no cut. Yeah.
Okay.
Totally. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, if it came to a ball python hatching, would you do a hopper mouse or would you do a rat pup or a rat fuzzy?
Rat fuzzy. Rat fuzzy. Yeah.
Yay imports or boo imports?
I don't do imports.
So, but
Is that like from Africa or from
yeah,
Europe,
like
U.S.?
yeah, like Indonesia, like wherever. Imports in
Oh.
general.
Nay.
Yeah, okay.
No, that's just me.
No, but for the whole world, like for all of us, like if you were a lawmaker, like if you were,
Oh.
Well, we wouldn't have the snakes we have if it was nay.
Yeah.
okay, so you would
You know.
you keep the imports trade.
Oh
going.
yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. What if you guys could import one reptile to your collection? Any reptile, what would it be? Doesn't matter. What would it be? Like a dream one.
Oh, a dream reptile?
Well, I can't answer that.
Yeah, I can. We have everything we want.
Not even a ball python, African import or something like that, or
No. No, I'm very satisfied.
All right. How about one reptile we should never import? Nobody should ever import ever again. Like leave it alone. Anything stand out?
You know the dragons on Game of Thrones. I think
Yeah.
they
should leave it alone.
they could turn on you.
Yeah.
You know.
That's
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Talk about unpredictable. All right. Okay. To spray a ball python or to not spray a ball python?
Spray it with what?
Like water, like mist it. Misting. Like people spray.
I never missed. No.
No.
Never missed. Okay.
Oh.
Yay sports or boo sports?
I like sports, but I don't watch
No
sports.
sports.
But I really do appreciate great athletes and watching them at their art. I mean, I follow the scores and I watch highlights and whatever. But ask me to sit down and watch a whole game. Nah, I got other things to
But
do.
I do love American Ninja Warrior. I love that show.
Did you ever watch American Gladiator from back in the day?
No, but in the UK where I grew up, we have this TV show called It's a Knockout.
Okay.
And it's like silly games where people would get like thrown in the water, and I like that stuff.
Yeah. I'm not obsessed with sports. I mean, I'll watch the odd horse race, the Triple Crown and stuff like that, because the backstories are really cool and the photography is excellent when they show these places. But yeah, I don't know. It's just not my thing.
Steak or fish?
Oh, easy. Steak.
Fish.
Okay, so Mark, favorite cut of steak.
Oh, ribeye. With
And-
bone-in ribeye.
And then Jayne,
Yeah.
favorite fillet of fish.
Place.
What's place?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's unheard of in North America. It's a European type of fish.
Wow, place? What what would you like? What would it be similar to? Like,
I think Kendall's
Somebody
it.
here?
It's a very thin, like Dover sole fish.
okay, wow, all right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Little word association. First thing to come to mind: substrate,
Cocoa husk.
Yeah.
milk,
Milk? 2%. And we're not milk drinkers. We put milk in our coffee. That's it.
Homo milk. Homo milk.
FedEx shipping.
It works. Who am I hearing?
Kendall's here with Archer.
Well, go get him.
Okay.
You guys good?
I'll be
Okay.
back.
You're gonna meet our grandson, okay?
Oh, your grandson's here. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
All right, let's finish these up then. Stuck shed.
Stuck shed?
Yeah.
soak or anything. If I get stuck shed, I'll just make it more humid in the bin and leave it to the next.
Ovulation.
When?
Day 60.
Day 60. Yeah, I guess at day 60, I'd be curious enough to cut, some eggs, but, not before that. I like to feel an egg and see the pliability. Sometimes eggs have very thick walls.
Right.
For some reason during the incubation process. And, some snakes might have difficulty, getting out. So in that situation, I might do a snip here or there. But I'm pretty adamant about, not cutting and letting nature take its course.
Favorite double recessive project?
Right now, I would say probably the Desert Ghost Clown.
Okay.
Is cool.
Who's this?
Hi.
Who's that?
Here.
Oh, look at this. We got family in the building. Who's this?
Nana.
This is Archer.
Archer.
Oh, there's-
Archer. What's up, Archer?
Who's that?
Hi, Archer. Archer. That's-
He loves his Grammy.
I love it. Oh my God.
Yeah, he's our pride and joy.
So how old is Archer?
Little guy. He's a year and 3 months, I think.
Hi, Archer. How are
This
you?
is
bud?
his first podcast. First
First
time.
time on the show. Look at him. He's,
Papa.
this, so this,
Uh,
how many grandchildren you guys have?
we have
Three.
three.
Wow. Beautiful.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah,
Hi.
but he lives very close to us. He's 20 minutes away, so we
Oh,
get
man.
to see him a lot, which is great. Yeah.
I love it.
Papa.
Well, listen, I want you guys to enjoy.
Yeah.
I want you guys to time with your family, okay? Have a good day. But before you guys go, what do you have to say to everyone out here supporting you guys? I mean, we had up to 70 people here at once, all here to watch you guys. So what do you have to say to all your supporters out there?
Well, I appreciate everything that they contribute to the industry because, it sometimes, it's the people that are just getting in that do so much for the industry and bring so much positivity to the industry and a lot of knowledge. Because a lot of these, newbies per se, they really do their research, and a lot of information, is gathered by them because they're hungry for that information. And I hope everybody does really well because if everybody wins, we all win.
Yeah.
Hi, bud.
I agree.
So I appreciate all the positive feedback. I've seen tons on your show, and but what you do, you really, man, you work very hard at this, and you're very good at what you do. You really are.
Thanks, Mark. It means a lot coming from you guys. I appreciate it so much. Jayne, thank you for sitting down with us. Really means
You're
a lot.
welcome.
I appreciate you two so
Bye-bye,
much.
Archer.
Archer, keep it real, buddy. I'll see you in about a year, okay? You'll be on here next year. I can already tell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, that's a wrap. Markus, Jayne, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good day, guys. See you later.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
God, I love those two, man. Amazing couple. Thank you so much, everyone who tapped in. Thank you for spending your Saturday morning, afternoon, evening with us. Really means a lot. But guys, hit that subscribe button. This is your first time tapping in and joining. Thank you so much. It would mean a lot if you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment. Let me know what you like the best out of this podcast. And definitely hit the like button. Let's get the likes up for Markus and Jayne. What an episode. What a round two in the books. I can tell you what, this week is not over. Tomorrow we have an amazing podcast. All you monitor lovers, the Holy Lizard session going down with somebody highly respected in the monitor game. Okay, if you're wondering who I'm talking about, that is going to be Brian Waterloo. My man is a gangster at breeding laces. I'm telling you right now, many other monitor species. He just had Monitor Fest hosted at his place. A lot of great things about to go down tomorrow, 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Be ready. I am so looking forward to this. Talk about a dream project of mine, something I'm literally fucking losing sleep over just because I can't wait to get to this point in my career. But breeding lace monitors, man, can't wait. Make sure you set your reminder. It's going to go down. And then after Sunday, picking things up next week, we also have an amazing episode with one of my own Patreon members coming to the New Breeder on the Block series. We have Jessica Hare from Hare Hollow Farm. This is a girl who I feel like is very player. I'm telling you right now, I love speaking to her whenever I do, and going to get to tap in with her Monday, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Going to see what she has going on, but more importantly, we're going to tap into some serious conversation of Nido and other stuff. I don't know. It's going to go down. Let's just say that, okay? So be ready. Click on the link. Coolest reptile podcast in the world. You guys have a good rest of your day. My trappers, I salute you. All my Patreon members, I love you guys. And yeah, it's going to go down tomorrow. Just be ready. And again, thank you so much, Markus and Jayne. Appreciate your guys' support. Canada, love you guys. I'll tell you what, Markus and Jayne, Canada, you're in a good place just by having these two. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow, and I'm out. Cheers.